This time I'd like to call on Commissioner Harvey for the invocation.
I have invited my city manager of Burke Burnett to come and give the invocation for us today. Mike, there's a microphone right there. It's not really a microphone to amplify. It's just so that the people watching it on TV can hear you.
Thank you. If you all join me, please.
Yes, sir.
First of all, Lord, we'd just like to thank you. Thank you for your wisdom and your guidance. Thank you for your provision and your protection. And most of all, thank you for your grace and your mercy. Today, I'd like to lift up our armed forces around the world. I pray that you would protect them, keep your hand upon them, and bring them home safely to their families. I pray for our leaders, Lord, in all levels of government. I pray that you would give them wisdom to carry out their duties and responsibilities and to always remember your sovereignty. And I pray for our emergency personnel, Lord, our police, our fire, our first responders. I pray that you would protect them while they're out in the field servicing their communities and their country. And I especially want to pray for the TIFMAS teams that were assigned to the Panhandle, Lord, to fight these grass fires, keep them safe and bring them home safely to their families. And most of all, Lord, we just want to thank you for your mercy and grace for this beautiful day. Help us to keep your word in our hearts as we fulfill our daily duties and responsibilities. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you,
Mike. Y'all will join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
They're looking for handouts too.
That's right.
Mike, I've been trying to tell these people that's the proper way to do that.
It's no longer.
It must be a Burke Burnett.
Hey, y'all learned that in grade school.
You ask our current representatives, they will tell you they don't do it that way anymore.
Thank you. That must be a
Bye,
Burke
Mike.
Burnett.
Thank you, Mike.
That's the deal.
Yeah.
Did you hear what he said? That's the way they're teaching their kids in school to do
They
it.
need to catch up.
About the way it is written in the
It's been that way my whole life.
Do what?
It's been that way my whole life.
No,
Nancy,
it
would you
has
get
not.
Alexis or
That
somebody
place
to
only came
start
about in the
back?
last 10 years.
No,
Bookmarking
we've had the
these
pledge to the Texas flag for a long time. It just has a little variation.
We bought the software.
Don't make me Google it.
Google it. That'll be convincing. All right, we're ready to take action on the consent agenda.
Before we do that, Judge, can we recognize Jim Russell?
Yes.
Phil, Denny,
Okay.
do you want to? They're going to run, but
Woody, I'm retiring at the end of this month.
Well, dang, Phil, I didn't know you were that much older than me.
Well,
he's not.
I'm probably 10 years older than you. So I've got a combined service of 48 years. Decided it was time to do something else and chase the dream.
Pick up the light, please.
Mike.
Hey, Mike, there should be one right there, too.
Now I can't talk it off.
Yeah.
So after 48 years, I've decided to go home and do things for the wife, honey-do list, and chase 5 grandkids. So at the end of this month, I'm retiring, and this is Mr. Jim Russell, and he's going to be taking my place. I've been training him for a while. He's been with us about 7 months now. So he came from another cat dealer, and he has cat experience, and he will have all of your information on everything that we've done in the past in our sales link in the computer program. So he's met each and every one of you. If you need budget numbers or anything else, give Jim a call. He's got access to all the records and everything that I've quoted you in the past, and he does know how to do the buy board stuff. So it should be a smooth transition.
Phil, you do realize that Wichita County is very proud of Big Jim Russell. Mikhail, you are, so we're going to have to call him Little Jim Russell. Okay?
Well, I was going to say, because I looked out there, I thought, Jim Russell is not here.
Everybody looks at him and they say, well, you're not the same Jim Russell. So,
Little Jim.
That's probably good in many cases.
anyway, but again, I want to tell you how much we appreciate everybody's business that you've given us over the years.
Phil, thank you for your support. You've
Well, I
always been
appreciate
there whenever something breaks, and when we need it fixed, you Johnny on the spot.
I
So,
appreciate it. Yeah, we try to give you guys top-rate service, and we've had a lot in return. We enjoy doing business with you. It's good for both of us. So thank you very much.
Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Very good. I think somewhere we ought to have it ready in the record that Phil Denny has assured me that Graham will not have a great football team next year.
I don't think
I'd
so.
like that on record.
No,
They're gonna have a sophomore quarterback, which, you know, except what he didn't say was, the kid's 6'8", he runs 104.
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
No, he's faster than that. Barry, I told you a long time ago, we just reload.
I know, I've noticed, Thank you.
Thank
Phil.
you.
Thank you, Jim. I think we need that in the record somewhere, so we count on that.
All right. Now we'll look at the consent.
Well, I'm gonna make a
agenda.
motion, we accept the very lengthy consent agenda this morning.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Is that a for sure? or-
Yeah. Just wanted to make sure I didn't forget anything.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Muller, a second by Commissioner Beecham to approve consent agenda. Any comments or questions?
Judge, I had a question.
Yes, sir.
There was item 10, approved some mileage reimbursement, but I didn't see any reimbursement form in here for that reimbursement.
No, but it'd be the standard mileage down and back. And what they didn't do, that should have gone through the IT committee first and then been sent by them. But you could certainly ask the auditor's office to get that for you, but I mean.
They just submit that on a regular.
You're right.
We're having some difficulty, Judge, with our travel forms. Mine went back in again.
that's only in-county travel that you're having trouble with.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was for out-of-county travel.
Yeah, but there is no difference. It's reimbursement for mileage of money spent out of an individual's pocket that needs to be reimbursed by this county, and to delay it multiple months is unacceptable. And so I'd just like to see us get this expedited as soon as
Have
possible.
you gone over and sat down with the auditor and gone over why there's a problem?
Yeah, we've emailed the form back to submit for a request. Mark, do you have, what was your problem on yours?
The first time I was told it was because I didn't have all down the ratings on it, so. Or then I was told I wasn't using the proper form, it's been rectified, and I still haven't seen it.
Well, I mean, I just, one of my concerns is, what are we doing with the information on this form? I mean, if we're going to collect mileage and track mileage and keep up with mileage, we should utilize mileage to some extent, I would think. And this mileage on item 10 here is no different than any other mileage paid for. So I'd like to see maybe the county, if we're going to waste the tremendous amount of time on filling out multitude of forms that takes now 3 people in my office to facilitate, and we still can't get it right. I would like to see us do something with that information that we're spending so much time on.
But we need to send you to training.
Yeah.
Look at Jeff.
It's no different. In fact, the constable's form, we asked for more detail when we went through the budget.
Yeah, no, the constable form, Judge, is a kindergarten from what we're filling out. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but
Yes,
you're
sir.
more than welcome to fill out my mileage form or use Joyce and Nancy to, or Nancy has been a part of this form and we've still yet to get it correct sent in, but
The form I used was the same one that Ms. Bohannon uses for her election reimbursement.
well, my question is, why is it different? Why is it not one standardized form, period?
Because we asked for more information on the constable's form.
For what reason, Judge, specifically?
There shows patrol, and it breaks it out into multiple categories of how they're using their travel mileage, whether they're stopping to serve papers or they're on patrol.
Where's that
It's without
summary?
lot.
Where's the summary of that information?
I don't know.
I'd like to see it monthly. I mean, who's putting it together? Who's managing the information that we obtain?
Commissioner, we asked for that information during the budget stuff when we talked to the constables, and we were narrowing down. We did away with auto allowance, and we specified in the budget that the form would be developed by the auditor for all to use in a standard form. Now, if you've got a problem, then I think you need to not email, but to go sit down with the auditor and go through it. and see if we need to come back to the court and prove something different.
Well, Judge, I'm not familiar with the court approving the form. And I'm not familiar with the court approving that the auditor approved the form.
It's in the budget. It's in the budget statement.
Oh, you'd need to show me that, I guess.
Okay,
but-
I'm pretty sure it's there, but I know that's what we discussed with it, and it really centered around originally with trying to get the constables down because of the, the question on how was that being done, how were they doing that. So we asked for a form that would get their odometer readings, get what their purpose of, they went from point A to point B, whether it's patrol or service of paper.
Well, and I certainly have no problem with it. The problem is, Judge, it's not being managed after the fact. I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing those submitted forms. Are you analyzing them?
No, no one said that was going to be part of it, but
that is the crucial point of it. The most crucial point of it.
Then we can certainly ask for those to be furnished at the time when they send the monthly report.
Well, the form that Ms. Bohannon uses is essentially the same identical form that the constables use. It just does not break it out into patrol miles versus stopping to serve papers, et cetera, et cetera. But the other information is the same in the same format. So I don't understand why there's an issue with using that form, since it works perfectly well for another elected official to use.
Well, my point is that we shouldn't have 7 forms.
We don't.
We do, Judge. This form we just approved on item 10 is nothing compared to the form that I fill out. Lori does not fill out the form I fill out, and the constables do not fill out the form I fill out. So all of those are different forms in themselves right there.
Do you have those? I question that.
Well, I'll be glad to show you mine. I keep mine on my
okay, he's saying he's not having trouble filling it out. Ms. Bohannon's not having trouble filling it out.
Oh, it's not filling it out that's the issue. It's getting paid for it. Yeah, we've got them filled out, Judge. No problem.
Then go sit down with the auditor or with the one that's reviewing those and find out what the problem is. We're not going to solve it here. But the travel form has been in existence for years, and you attach, I attach the Google deal, I get Google Map, and I have the mileage on there, and I attach it to my travel form, and I claim the number of miles it allows on there.
Yeah, that would be nice and simple.
Well, it's only worked for me for about 20 some odd years.
But that's out-of-county travel, Judge. We always do it.
Well, he's including that in what he was saying. But if you want
we can solve all this mileage issue right here. We'll just get all the commissioners a brand new 4-door F-250, about $55,000 a piece, and insurance on it.
Well, that'd avoid that $1,000 a month we're having to pay now in fuel.
I'm just saying, it could be worse. They're just trying to get some mileage reimbursement, and very frustrating. I think that's the point that's been made.
But no one has bothered to go over there and sit down and say, what am I doing wrong? Show me. Have they?
I don't.
Well, you haven't.
I haven't.
I haven't been over there, but I've spent time on the phone with him.
Okay, either way, but
I spent several phone calls, and
it just shouldn't be that hard, Judge, is my point. My issue, it should be simplistic, it should be to the point, it should roll up mileage, it should be something that every person paid mileage makes it to the monthly summary form, and that we can see. But we're not utilizing that information for no reason other than to make it hard on the individual, so maybe they won't apply for mileage. It's truly kind of the way I feel about it.
yeah, $59 for 3 months of driving is all I've requested. So,
well, that wasn't a problem until you all wanted to change what has been the deal. If mileage was rolled into your salary, now you all want to be, but I asked you to do that during the budget. We didn't set that up then. It's been post then that we've done that.
Well, if our mileage was rolled into our salaries should be more than the other elected officials who don't travel the county, but they're not.
Well, they think they work harder than you is why they should get paid more.
Well, maybe they are. Maybe they do. I mean, you're right. But it's just the point that for some reason, we can't turn in a mileage and get reimbursed for it. $59 in 3 months. And I think that the aggravation is what's coming out in here.
Well, I've replaced foreman's gas bill with my own personal gas bill, and that.
You
is
have the
irritating.
opportunity to drive out there, park your vehicle, get in that vehicle and drive it then, if you don't want to mess with it.
Or buy one that I can do that with. Yes, sir, I do. It just seems like such a waste of money.
It is a waste of money.
Okay.
Thank you.
Motion and second on the
Yep.
consent agenda. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. General business, review and approve the regular bills for payment.
We went over on Friday, Judge.
Yes, sir.
Pretty in detail, so I'll make a motion we pay our bills.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Harvey, a second by Commissioner Beecham. Paid bills, any questions? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item 2, discuss and review jail maintenance projects and work orders.
Oh, is
Zero.
Mr. Spiegel not in here?
No.
Pardon me. We had a conversation Friday about, well, we don't want to go back to what we had originally, but we had this spreadsheet that had hundreds of work orders on it. But what I'm getting at is whenever things happen, like losing the water out there at the annex, or power, or gas line break, or something like that, this paper that says
Nothing
one
outstanding.
plumbing job repaired, got her done. I would like to know what some of these work orders are. It don't have to be as detailed as it was. It just, I'd like to know that we're having troubles. And so if you say, man, that thing's broke like 3 times.
Probably on that one there, it's probably a issue that needs a microphone, sorry.
Yeah.
See you in the window?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, we had the issue last week with the electrical panel, and it was
Yes.
reported we had no outstanding issues, where we still have that today.
On the major, I think my understanding on the maintenance there is things that our maintenance people take care of. Other things like the electrical panel or the water issue that was plumbers had come out to the annex for, those aren't on there because they weren't actually being handled by our maintenance people.
Well, it's a
That makes
work
sense.
order in
It's a
our
work
jail.
order. It is.
Okay, and that's what I'm talking about. See
Okay.
if we can get just a little, well, it doesn't have to go overboard.
Yes, sir.
Anything like that, just a little information on what's going on.
Yes, sir.
But could you give them, that's kind of, we're back to the kind of the same thing. You can say, I want a little information. You ought to give them an idea of, and lay it out, how you want that laid out, and so you know you're getting what you want instead of them
Okay, I
trying
can do
to
that.
guess.
We can get the spreadsheet that we used to get.
Yeah.
And get rid of a whole bunch of that stuff and just
Okay.
have some basic.
Clean it up and just basically
Yeah.
the date and time and what they repaired, what
Yeah,
the
what
problem
the
was.
problem is,
Yes.
really.
Just a
If we're having to
real
bring
quick.
an outside contractor in, or if it results in
Okay.
potentially shutting us down, like
Just
the
like to
electrical
know.
panel.
Yes, sir.
We need to know.
Going back to that electrical issue, because it's nothing that our maintenance people will be taking care of. It's
Sure.
going to have
No.
to go
Well, that's
outside.
not the criteria for the work orders.
That's correct. Well, that's the way I see it. I don't
No,
know.
it's not.
Yeah.
If there's something wrong with our jail, whether our maintenance people or an outside contractor works on it, it's still a work order in our jail.
Okay, well, we can fix that. That's not a problem.
All right,
And
thank you, Will.
With the electrical panel, my visit with Spiegel Friday, Davis Electric was supposed to be in this week. Do we have that confirmed? To
No,
pull
I
the
have
motor?
not spoken to Lieutenant Spiegel since Thursday. I was off Friday, and he's off today. I will call him after the meeting to see where we stand on that.
Okay, could y'all let me know on that? Because the way I understood it, Davis was coming in to pull the motor to take it to Evans to have it rewound. Kevin Patterson?
I spoke to Spiegel this morning, and he said he's waiting on one quote back from an electric company. I was out all week last
That
week.
those were panel quotes, but,
Okay.
but we
That's-
needed to
that's the only
move
thing.
quickly on getting that motor removed and see if it can be repaired.
That is the only thing that Spiegel told me, is that they are waiting on. He didn't say anything about removing the motor or anything today.
You know, we're talking a difference
We'll find
between
I know when he
$20 job and
Yeah.
a $15,000 job.
There was some variance in each electrical company he spoke to about how much precaution they had to take just to get the motor out. You know, some thought it'd be no big deal. Some talking about having to have the PPE uniforms and the blankets and everything.
Right.
So it's not just a simple take that motor out. It's because there's so much electricity in that panel.
Right.
Okay.
What we're talking about, hang on, while we're talking about that, are we still doing the manual transfer of that switch?
No,
Or
sir, we have
got a
not.
waiver from the jail commission to not do those?
Well,
while
we're going to contact the jail commission this afternoon, or this morning. And we didn't do a manual test last week. We did one the week before. But because the arcing issue, you actually have to spend that. And what we found out about the arcing issue, we have not. So we're going to contact the commission this morning.
Okay. If we have to do something, or they want to, we probably ought to have a plan that we can call somebody that's qualified and has the appropriate gear and all to come transfer that for us if we have an outage.
Yes, sir.
Not us trying to do it.
That's correct. We have some big signs that we're not to touch it. So we don't want to touch it. We have to be an outside electrical person
But
to
we
touch
need to
it.
have somebody, we need to
Lined out
have
to
a
do it.
resource.
Yeah. And I think he was working on that last week, figure out who was going to be, where we could call to come do that. Like I said, again, we had some people said, no big deal, we're going to pull that motor. And other companies said, well, we got to address it with the blankets, we've got to wear the uniforms. So we're just going to have to figure out who's going to do it and how they're going to do it, make sure it's the safest way
Well, I
to do
would
it.
highly recommend hiring the company that's going to wear the proper PPE.
Yes, sir, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't need any cowboys out there getting hurt.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will, I had a question over the mold remediation.
Yes, sir.
Now, is that that's not to do with the leak overhead?
No, this is a leak that was discovered about a month, or the mold was discovered about a month ago, and then they came in and did the test on it, and we came back and they talked about what type of mold it is. Then we went out trying to find somebody who could remove it from us. I believe that's coming up on the.
It is. Let's
in
get
a
back
minute.
to this
Yeah.
one, and then we'll go to that one.
That's true. Okay.
Okay. Now, in this one, there's also attached is the information on a switch, the replacement on the switch.
Switch gear, that's what we've been talking about.
Okay, well, we've been talking about the motor. Is that included in that?
Okay. The motor is something that can be rewound, and Commissioner Beecham has got a greatly reduced price and may not have to spend that
Okay,
much.
is that part of this, and do we know that the shaft or the, whatever's the motor's going to go into, which I assume is this switch, that
If the
that's-
motor can't be repaired, we will have to replace the entirety of the panel, which that would be that quote. So that would
There's
include
nothing wrong
all,
with the switch, right?
the switch is fine, it's the drive motor.
Okay.
But you can't find another replacement
That's why I couldn't
motor.
tell
Yeah.
reading this.
Yeah,
I
we-
felt like we were on two horses at one time.
We spent several hours researching, looking for that replacement motor, and since that company was bought out by Hubble, there's no replacement motors available. It's a 30-year-old piece of equipment.
Okay, do we want to, well, it's not covered in this item. I was going to say to go ahead and take action to approve this if they, so we don't slow down, because they're saying this is a 4-week order time.
Yeah, do we have an item on the agenda for that?
No, we
So
don't.
do we declare it an emergency item and?
Well,
Put it on for Friday.
yeah. No, you don't want to do that for Friday. We can wait till Monday, but I think it's of such paramount importance.
Sure.
If we get that notice, go ahead and move forward on it.
Right.
And then we'll ratify that in the court.
Okay.
This does not need
No,
to wait any.
no, absolutely not.
Judge, to answer another question, Commissioner Harvey, about the reporting, like this last week, the gas leak would not have been a jail maintenance deal, but it affected the jail.
Affected the jail.
Yeah.
You know, so it wouldn't have showed up on that report, but it did have an effect.
Well, we
on it.
knew about the gas leak almost immediately.
Right.
Which is great.
Dodged the bullet on
We kind of knew about the water leak when the operator of the forklift nearly drowned in it.
Leak mine.
That's terrible, Woody. Almighty.
Talk about drinking water from a fire hose. Did we find the cutoff valves, or do we have to go out to the street to cut it, do you know?
They end up cutting off at the shack there, the Vernon College that has the fire suppression. That's where they cut it off at.
Okay. Well, when I talked to the sheriff, he was almost out of breath and kind of, I said, if nothing else, go to the street, get all of it, and then find out. Okay. No action to be taken there. Item 3 is just consider take action on one of 2 proposals for ServPro or Service Master of Wichita Falls to remove mold in an area of the jail annex as recommended by Mold Assessment Protocol by Flint and Inspection Consulting Services Incorporated. Chief, do you want?
You want to talk a little bit about it? We discussed this about a month ago. The pamphlets you have is actually the report from Flint and the 2 proposals to remove it. It's in the high 8s, or actually in the low 8s section of the building. Now, 8.3, we've already closed that. Correction, 8.4, we've already closed that. Moved the inmates out of that house, and because that's where the majority of the mold issue was at.
Okay. Do we know what caused it, where that came from?
They didn't say what exactly caused it. I'm assuming it's from, it's where the penthouses are in the warehouse. It runs along the north and south wall of 8-4, and then it runs all the way down the wall of the hallway, but it's not in the other housing units. It's not that mold. It's a...
I've looked at the pictures.
I can't pronounce what kind of mold it is, but it does have to be remediated by a mold removal specialist. Right. There's only one in Wichita, and the other company has somebody coming in from Dallas. So.
Okay.
That's why there's such a big difference in the prices.
Right. But the thing I was really wanting to know is we don't repeat this, you know, that we know that leak has been taken care of by the new roof?
I believe so, but we've got the dehumidifiers. I've called Textima several times to come out and check the humidity back there. One of the companies suggested after we get the mold removed and remediated to go in and seal the roof where there's some, not cracks, but some openings where I guess it expands and contracts, and kind of put some foam seal or something in there to keep that moisture out.
Well, it's a brand new roof. So,
right.
So that
it's not on the top, it's in the jail.
Okay.
I mean, it's underneath.
If you see through there?
You can't.
Oh, you can't?
No.
Okay.
I believe it's from where it allows the building to expand and contract, I'm assuming. I don't know anything about that.
Okay.
But it's cracks above like where the 2 walls join. So.
Okay.
That was their suggestion, and then, I mean, we're trying to stay as best we can on top of the humidity as possible.
And why don't we get Harper Perkins and the roofer to look at that and decide what needs to be done there and whether that's part of what should have been done.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. No, I don't expect you to know that.
Yeah.
Chief, let me know the outcome of that call to the jail commission, whether they have any problem.
Yes, sir. We'll send you an email.
Thank you. Okay. We still need to take action on the selection of one of those 2 companies to do the abatement. Service Master is a low bidder too.
And I guess they're certainly qualified to do that.
Yeah. Mr. Watts, is that a motion then?
Yes.
Second, Judge.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions on the item? Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Watts, a second by Commissioner Marlowe to award the project to Service Master, who is the low bidder. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried 5-0. Isn't Service Master working on that pipe break water problem we had?
think ServPro came out.
Oh, ServPro, okay. All right.
I would've got there sooner, Judge, but I was reading all these big words. That's dandy.
Makes you wonder why you didn't study harder in biology, right?
Anthonylium.
Okay, item number 4, discuss, consider, take action to approve one of 2 quotes. Alpha Omega Wireless Incorporated in the amount of $20,690.33, or Mobile Phone of Texas Incorporated in the amount of $20,757 for relocating existing equipment from electrical water tower to a 330-foot guide tower and electric to be paid from the 2016 limited tax note. Mr. McGowan?
Yes, sir. That agenda request is just what it says, to relocate the equipment from the electrical water tower to the tower that we're already paying rent on 287. That's owned by SB Communications. So we want to move the equipment from that little building to the one we're paying for and replace the 2 antennas.
Microphone.
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 No. Microphone.
This work?
Yes.
Hope not.
Okay. Questions?
On your comparison of contractors, Alpha Omega shows several things that they do not charge for, but you have them listed below. Are those assumed prices on those listings?
Are you talking about the sheet where I did the
Yeah,
comparison?
the polyphaser, the labor, the FCC licensing,
Yeah, that's stuff that they don't do, or they don't
But has to be
include,
done.
they don't include in their bid.
But you equated that same price that was quoted from mobile phone into that quotation.
Right,
So we have no idea what that number actually
right,
is.
because they don't do that kind of work.
Okay.
They're a tower crew and they do antennas and lines.
Okay. Well, so I would make the motion that we go with mobile phone since it's a complete turnkey installation.
Okay.
I would second that motion.
And there's no microwave that has to be lined up or shot to the
No, sir.
other, this doesn't deal with microwave?
No, sir.
No, there's just 2 VHF antennas.
How do we pull microwave to the precinct 4 building now?
Well, I don't know. It was actually
It's on that. I'm sorry, Ashley, say that again.
There's a radio on top of the 3-4 line.
And it shoots to,
The Bob's Can Tower.
yeah.
Bob's Can Tower.
Oh, so there's microwave already coming
Yes, sir.
to it? Okay.
And oddly enough, the microwave was only $30 a month when we attached it, I believe is the price. But once we attached something, then we started paying for
Increase.
what we're adding back over there now, but it'll be higher and should be better served. In the work that Dwayne's done for us, looking at how do we cover that southwest corner of the county, it ought to improve that service greatly.
When will we know that?
Well, probably fairly soon after they hook it up, somebody just goes and tries it, you
Your
know.
licensing from the FCC to relocate your transmitters, usually 90 days. So we'll start the FCC licensing immediately. And normally, 90 days when you get the license back, and we can move the equipment and the transmitters then.
Why didn't Joe do the FCC licensing? I thought he had to do that for our tower in Iowa Park.
Yeah, I think he did. He did some, but those are 2 separate systems, so, I mean, they're just a tower crew and they do.
The microwave stuff, this is for our 2-way radios, public safety radios.
Okay. We have a motion by Commissioner Beecham, second by Commissioner Harvey to approve the project award to Mobile Phone of Texas. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item 5 is discuss, consider, take action to approve Tyler Technologies proposal in the amount of $13,220 for biometric identification for the Tyler Odyssey conversion project with payment from Fund 403 Tyler Technologies software acquisition budget as established by the county auditor. Ms. Colley?
This is an add-on item. When we signed our Tyler contract, biometrics was not something that they had implemented at that time. We knew that it was coming with the new version that we went to, so we kind of just went ahead and waited to add this in. So this is some licensing, and then also the main cost is the actual scanners. And what this does is biometrics to check inmates into the jail and then to release them. Instead of having to manually type someone into the jail, they can scan their thumbprint and check to see if they are already in our system, which would save some time, and then also on release. That way they can be verified before they are released.
So is that going to be at 2 locations for, how's that? Is more than one biometric reader?
So we purchased 2, and then there'll be one in the book-in area, and then one wherever the captain would like the other one.
Okay.
How much are those biometric readers?
I don't have the quote in front of me.
$13,220, what it says here.
But when you go in, when you come into the jail and you scan a thumbprint, it can pull up some history of the offender or
Yes.
the potential inmate.
Yes.
See
It
that.
will, if they've been in here, it will populate all of their fields automatically and start the process. That alleviates, PD from having to type in their name or get their date of birth, or sometimes we have them not tell you the truth. One time they come in, they might give you one birth date or one social security number, and so this kind of takes that element out of it. But like I said, it also is for release. That way,
What's the process on release that they would need that?
They have to be verified of who they are when they're released.
We've had an incident years ago.
They switch their bands. They say they're someone else. They fake a signature.
But a person could come in that conceivably has been in the jail 3 different times under 3 different names, I'm assuming,
Yes.
right?
That also can, we can find those parties and merge them together. There's a lot of different functionality that you can use it for.
What is the annual licensing cost? The ongoing cost?
I don't, hang on just one second. Let me see if I can.
You want to look at it here?
Is it on the breakdown?
Sorry,
You can
I
see it, but it may be on there.
I think it is.
It says annual will be $5,053.
That's for 2 licenses?
Does this play any role into our facilitating our signage or electronic signing apparatuses, or does it elevate that or make it better?
So they're working on doing biometrics or thumbprint to add on to the court side so that you can do that instead of actually signing. So by us putting this feature into our contract, it would allow us to add that on later and only have the cost of the scanners.
But the cost of the scanners is nominal, it's $126. It's not that much.
But like if we're needing a signature pad, then they can be added into the system.
All right, ideally what we would like is, some of the places that we are going to have what they refer to as a wet signature or signature pad, in some cases to be able to maybe implement in the future just a thumbprint biometrics so that your thumbprint shows up, because that's how they sign court documents now. Like if you go to CCL1 and you accept your plea, you actually do your thumbprint on your document. So this would allow us to add that feature on once they implement that into the courts of justice portion.
License and equipment would be transferable to the new building once it's operational.
Absolutely.
Okay. I would make the motion that we would accept this.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Beecham, second by Commissioner Watts to approve the item as stated. Any other comments?
It's a $25,000 commitment.
If we take 5 years.
Yeah.
Right now, all we're doing is committing to buying those because they're getting into the plan. We'll do that when we get everything ready to go live.
In 13,220.
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Judge, let me ask
Yes,
on
sir.
that item, is there, in the future, will Lori and Patty utilize such a function, or is this strictly an inmate type
I mean,
function?
no, it could be used anywhere. It's not built into, the infrastructure to make it work is only built into the jail manager portion, but they have already come out and said that that's something they're working towards in courts and justice to put that into county clerk, district clerk, JP, in those functionalities too. They just have to build it in. So anything that you could use biometrics for, we would eventually be able to add into those areas.
Lord and Patty would use it if they ever got put into jail.
I don't think that's what he was thinking, but you are correct. Okay.
You see Lori with a blue towel.
Okay. Item 6, discuss or take action to approve an order to Hart Intercivic Incorporated for the election maintenance supplies at a cost of $2,211.20 to be paid from $104.93 for supplies to report the balances determined by the county auditor.
So moved.
Thank you.
Yeah, second. Lori, can we have some voting signs made out of your budget money? You have money for signs, like a banner?
No.
I saw a banner at Wichita County Junior Livestock Show.
That was Chapter 19 money. Chapter 19 money will not pay for voting things. It is for voter registration. Two separate things.
Can we have a sign that says register and vote here?
Where would you use
Where would you use
You
that?
can't register.
You can't register?
Vote, not
You
your
can't
vote.
get a, you can't get a registration slip when you
Not
vote?
at the same time.
You gotta be registered in the.
You can in Louisiana.
I'm not saying register today, vote today. I'm saying that's the way to do a sign. It says register and vote.
Okay.
A big banner. And all registration cards here, you can vote here.
Put a comma there.
No.
Yes.
Might be register or vote, but
I want a big sign.
Make it.
Just
I'm gonna get it out of your budget somehow.
where are you gonna put this?
It just wants you to pick.
Hold the chain link fence.
In front of your house or?
That's the power.
They won't read it anyway.
get that other sign and just paint it on the back and then bring it back to the show.
There you go.
All right,
This would be better.
okay.
All right.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Discuss and/or consider take action to authorize county judge to sign LexisNexis subscription plan amendments and contract addenda for Bill Group number 422LL T2JK and Bill Group number 424T9Y7W8 for access to use and specified materials and product services and features for a term of 3 years with pricing as follows. That's listed on there. Ms. Jones is here to talk about that.
This is to renew the judges, DAs, public defenders, attorneys for their legal research access, and the other ones for the patron access.
What's the difference on the bill groups, or why is that relevant?
The bill groups for the patron access for local attorneys to come in and do research. The other ones for the judges, the DA's attorneys, and public defenders attorneys. They have to have a separate contract.
Do we charge, Sherry, for that service at all? I mean, is that a?
We charge by when they print something or email.
Commissioner, most of that access is done by the attorneys who are appointed by the county to be provided indigent defense. So charging them for it essentially gets a bill back to us.
Yeah.
That's why we provide it.
Plus, they charge you for charging it, too.
I never understood why we paid so much money for LexisNexis, and then we turn around and pay so much money for Westlaw, and they're the same thing. It's just some people like Westlaw, and some people like LexisNexis. I mean, how can we all keep lots like one of them and save a ton of money.
Well, we don't spend as much on Westlaw, do we, as we do on Lexus?
No.
Why don't we have all Ford trucks or all internationals?
But I don't have a Ford and a Chevy. I pick one.
Okay.
That's my point.
Well, I'm talking about across the precincts. We get different flavors for different folks.
Well, if we bought everybody in the precinct to pick up a Ford and a Chevy, that's the same thing.
Westlaw works with us to provide us some extra stuff in our contract that we wouldn't get with LexisNexis. So those of us who are very intensive research driven, there's only about 5 of us that have that Westlaw access, that do most of the research for the county.
So it's a better product?
It has a lot more capability.
So why don't we just get rid of LexisNexis and use Westlaw?
Because Westlaw for everybody is far more expensive than LexisNexis. So we provide most people access to LexisNexis because it is cheaper, but for those of us who are research intensive, we get Westlaw for those few people.
Thank you, Barry.
I'd make the motion that we accept the proposal.
Thank you. Except for Ford or Chevy.
Second.
It's for LexisNexis. We're not voting on Westlaw today.
Well, thanks, Sherry. We have a motion by Commissioner Beecham, second by Commissioner Watts to approve the item as stated. Any other comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item 8 is discuss, consider, take action to accept S&S trailer and sales estimate number 1181 in the amount of $4,685 for a 2018 Lamar 83-inch by 16-foot tandem axle trailer for precinct 2 to be paid from 222.205001 capital expenditures to a line determined by the county auditor. Commissioner Harvey.
This is a trailer for the new roller and concrete saw. I make the motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any other comments on this item? Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Harvey, a second by Commissioner Waller. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item 9, discuss, consider, take action to approve the receptionist in the Veteran Service Office for up to 40 hours per week due to the absence of one counselor to be paid at a rate of up to $1,250 per hour, and temporary agency staffing fees to be paid from $104.5.195. I do not know how long that one counselor is going to be out. It's going to be intermittent. And we have a state counselor there part of the time, but she's not our resource. And so we'd like to have that person there. We're rearranging some of the physical things in the office in order to control that entrance. We wanted to do that for a while, and Mr. Waller got a good look at it with Mr. Yo, and they worked out a plan for doing that. And this is to have someone there. Now, during the week, when that changes, we get the other counselor back full-time, they will rotate around who sits in that position.
I make a motion, Judge.
Second.
I'd like to make a note that the hourly wage is not $1,250 an hour. It's only
Well, it's a really good person.
$1,250.
It's really a good person.
Well, mine's got a decimal.
Yeah.
Mine does too.
When you read it, you said $1,250 an hour.
Eddie didn't think that was a bad price.
No, that's a good price.
You thought we were paying attention, didn't you, Commissioner?
It's been a couple of weeks.
I said $1,250, or I say $1,250 now.
I think you said $1,250.
Yeah.
But it don't matter. I just want to
I'm
make
just
sure
checking to see if
everybody
you're
knows.
listening.
That's why I was.
I was gonna ask you why.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we'd have to pay you what you're worth.
No, we can't survive on that.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have to charge mine.
Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries 5-0. Item 10 is discuss, consider, take action to approve the county treasurer's reports for January 2018 and authorize county judge and commissioners to sign affidavit certifying compliance with section 114.026C of the local government code for January 2018. Mr. Hampton.
Gentlemen, vote early and vote often, right?
Registered vote, right, Warren said.
Registered and vote.
Now, what you're looking at, that we printed off, TSG is the end of January, not that one, Commissioner Harvey. Yeah.
No, the one you're going to approve is too
Yeah.
long, the legal sheet black one.
And you understand, I hope, that print off is right out TSG, a software that is almost 25 years old.
It's still going strong.
I got socks older than that.
Yeah, well, you need to change them every now and then. According to this report, as of January, we're 7% ahead of where we were past 12 months. January of 17. Now, switching over to the up-to-date report, anybody have a question on that TSG report? If you'll notice, I've highlighted the green indicates the monthly income on interest income, and that's on page 4. Hopefully that'll help you as you decide whether you want to buy a Chevrolet or a Ford. Let me remind you that I'll never remind you of that. But anyway, 55, almost 56,000 will be our interest income this month. And we also have a CD maturing today in Jim, and also one in Precinct 3, Barry. And I don't know whether to renew that or what. Willie, of course, is my go-to guy on how much cash we need to keep on hand.
Willie would be the one to help make that decision.
Okay, well, we'll continue to. But you've got a sizable amount of money, and the text crew, as you've already noticed.
Business over in Precinct 3, I'm done.
You doing what, sir?
I said, we take care of business over in Precinct 3.
Well, you do. I appreciate that. And
I'm on page 4 here, Bob, and I'm trying to find where you said
yeah.
$55,000.
Okay, on page 4?
Yeah.
Okay, right down there at the bottom where it says grand totals. Yeah, interest income.
It's olive green color.
Yeah, I tried to highlight that so you guys would have a little better worker. Yeah, almost
55.7, is that?
Almost 56, yeah. And that last page is our jail fund. Both those treasuries come due next month.
Major maintenance project.
So once again, I'll be visiting Willie and see how far we want to roll those treasuries on out. Also, I want to mention that Murphy will be here April the 2nd to do our annual review of our contract and investment policy, and he'll let you know about what we are invested in that passes inspection. And then I put this deal from Murphy in your file, and you just need to know what I look at every day. This is one of them. Of course, this morning the market's selling off again, but the new chairman of the Fed is Jerome Powell, and he's thinking that things are looking real good, and he's going to keep the same routine as Chairman Mellon did. Larry Kudlow's taken the place of Gary Kahn, who resigned as Chief Economic Advisor. Kudlow, of course, is a finance guy on MSLSD, okay? And Secretary Treasurer Steve Mnuchin just indicated that we've got almost $21 trillion in debt, and you guys need to be aware of that. Sooner or later, we're going to pay that. But what is really interesting is 30% of that debt is foreign owned.
Just 3%?
30.
Oh, 30%
of that debt is foreign owned. And 20% of that foreign debt is owned by China. So
who are also facing some economic problems right now that could implode compared from what I've been reading.
You got it.
They've built huge buildings over there with nothing to put in them, which is kind of scary. In other words, it's a facade.
Building a big wall.
And, get back to that comment about the market trading off. If
Yes,
you
sir.
don't trade that thing off every once in a while, this interest is going to continue to go up, is it not? Would that be a correlation that you could expect?
You know, 10 years as a broker, Barry, I'll tell you, I don't know what to expect out of it. That's a New York generated deal.
Broker was an interesting. No. Now, what I'm saying is they're, they continue to be a little concerned about inflation, which a little inflation is usually pretty beneficial for a working guy, but it just makes me think that thing continues to be red hot. They're going to want to slow it down. The way you do that is that interest.
Well, if you bought any groceries lately, let me tell you, inflation is here.
I tell you what, you've
And listen to everything you see.
repaired any equipment lately.
Amen.
Inflation is here.
You
We're
got it.
seeing that in our budget situation. Tires, batteries. It's costing a lot more to keep a fleet on the road now than it did 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Considerably more.
And road product,
Absolutely.
I pay those bills.
I would make the motion to accept the treasurer's report as given.
And I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the bill, accept the report. Any other comments or questions?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Precinct 1. We've invested in, I want to call it the pink line. This is gold, $5,012.41, American National Bank. Coupon is .20. They made $12.41 in net income for interest. And if you go down, precinct 2, same stuff. Instead of having 5,000, it's got 10,000 in it. And the interest income is $1.54. Got twice as much gold and $1.54 in interest, and he's got half as much gold and $12.41 in interest at the same return rate. I don't understand that.
Well, I try to keep 10,000, it's good question.
Well, I mean,
I try to keep 10,000 in each precinct simply because that's a 5-minute turnaround. Text pool is a full day, so if we get into a financial twist.
I'm not asking you why.
It's near you.
I want to know why, if I had $10,000 worth,
He's not
I got $10,000 worth of gold, he's got $5,000 worth of gold.
Well, you got 10, you got
He gets
10,000.
$12 in interest, and I get $1.54 in interest. I'm not right there, Bob.
You're the school's gold, that's.
Okay, oh, I see what your question is.
Yeah.
Why you got 12 and.
Yeah, he makes,
Well.
And that's precinct 3, precinct 3, precinct 2. We all made $1.54, and Mark Beecham, the new guy, gets $12.41.
We like Mark better than you.
Not a suitable response, Treasurer.
Well, you got to start out with that. Mark's not been around here long enough to make everybody mad.
We got half as much gold as we do, and make 10 times much more money. Just
No, the answer to that question is that Mark started off the month with a whole lot more money in his account. And,
not in his gold account.
yeah, it was. He started it off, this is the end of the month, though.
you transferred it out.
Yeah, I
into
transferred
different
it
accounts.
out. But it's a good question and great observation.
I just think you're partial.
I am.
I'm Rose Mason, and you do me that way.
Of all the six of you, I like Nancy best. I'm gonna go with that.
Good call.
Anything else? That's a good.
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Trash.
Excuse me, Bob. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. You're not opposed?
Well, I'm not opposed, I'm just a little upset.
Okay. Thank goodness we were down to public comments. Anyone in the audience have anything to bring up? Mr. Beecham?
Yeah, after going to the rural fire chiefs meeting last week, one of the topics of discussion was the burn ban and why we are not in one. Of all the chiefs, only one reported that he was in favor of going into a burn ban. We're currently under the KDVI index, so we are following the rules as they're set out. Of all the chiefs, only Wichita West chief was the only one in favor of going into a burn ban at this point. We still need to be very careful. Understand that there was quite an outbreak yesterday in the Panhandle region. From my understanding, we were in a pretty bad situation, region-wide, area-wide, with the red flag warning. The conditions were very favorable for those kind of outbreaks here as well. So, Lee, do you have anything to add to that? Or?
No, it just, we are still have to have the 575 ceiling for the burn ban, and we're just not there. We haven't had the volume of fires, or any fires that we have had wouldn't be prevented by a burn ban. So the only reason Wichita West was in favor of it because they got some calls from that area of people that, Ponderosa, that area where the houses are pretty close, and they do have some fuels there. So those folks are worried about it, but there hasn't been any actual fires there that threaten anything.
Yeah, just for clarification, we can declare an emergency, and that will overtake the Keach Fire Index. Right. But there is nothing we're doing that if people will do as they've been doing, the fires are not someone doing something careless so far. It's been simply those things that have happened at electric lines, contacting each other, or something like that. We haven't had an indication of anything that was preventable.
Well, we've had a few fires from welding. That's, pretty common anyway, any time of year. There's really no way to prevent those.
Everybody needs to impose their own burn ban.
Be careful and
pay attention to the conditions in their day. You don't want to be out welding or doing anything else. Yesterday was one. Today will be one. And there will be another one later this week, but everybody will just do that. We'll be great. Just pay attention. Pay attention to what's around you.
It's not just welding.
No.
Oh, absolutely.
My dad, Grandma Harvey, he was out there, he was grinding. Yeah. And he looked up and the whole pasture was on fire. That's that quick.
Trailer chains.
Yeah. Trailer chains, absolutely.
Yeah.
All those little things that we need to be aware of. And
somebody drives them flat and has it going down to the rim, same kind of problem. Yeah. Okay, Commissioner Harvester.
Yeah.
Let me get my calendar up here. Calendar.
Do you ever watch Shameless? Have you ever watched the show Shameless?
Tomorrow.
It's pretty dirty.
But
Frank, he reminds me.
The car show for Vortex is coming up, Judge. Yes, sir. We have a 2 o'clock today, but it doesn't look like I'll get to go to that. Also, tomorrow at the health department in the Warren Room, I think most of us are going to listen to the new, she had a fancy word, it's talk about septic tanks.
Oh.
Septic tanks, there's new regulations or something on septic tanks.
What, is that the new state law that's been?
They're rewriting the city ordinance.
Yeah, rewriting the city, county ordinance.
Oh, because, we adhere to a little more stringent rule than the state.
We would love to see them roll back to the state standard.
Show up at the meeting no more.
We can't all go.
What up?
Because it's county business, that would be a public meeting.
It is a public meeting, isn't it, posted?
But you have to post as the commissioners court.
Commissioner Beecham and I both are.
We can't go to a public meeting.
Not unless you post it. If you're going to discuss matters that are related to county business and all 5 of you, or more than 2 of you are going to be there, then you have to separately post your meeting.
Okay.
We've done that in the past, like if y'all attended the city council meeting during the emergencies, we just posted the meeting over there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just gonna scale that to 2 of us, and you and Mark are already.
We serve as ex officio members to the city county health board, so we've already been briefed on it.
But y'all can bring the new proposed rules
Yeah,
to
we gave you, we have a deal, when we come back from that, I mark it on there, I circulate any of those things out to you, you all get what I got there.
Yeah,
I saw that deal, but I didn't see the proposed.
No, they didn't have that, but they, you know, they were working on it. I didn't hear anything alarming in that.
No, it essentially was holding the service contractors accountable for making sure that they're actually servicing the systems as
Well, now,
they're required to.
there's a later meeting in April. Is that where they're going to adopt the proposals? I saw something in April from, is tomorrow just an informational deal?
Yeah, tomorrow's just informational.
Yeah, so there is a later meeting scheduled, I'm pretty sure I saw it's in April, where they're going to adopt the new proposal.
They showed us some examples of systems that had not, aerobic systems that had not been maintained properly. They had, sprinkler heads were off of them, et cetera, causing ponding in the yards.
One of the biggest things they're trying to do is people say, I will maintain them.
Yeah.
And then they don't. So they're looking at a little more compliance in that. They're also looking, and the person in good faith pays one of the companies to do it.
And they
don't show up, because they have to send a report, they went out and checked the system, into the health department. And that's done to help the owner. But the ones they were showing us, there was no maintenance going on at all, and I don't need to report that. They weren't getting the report.
No, they weren't getting a report, Lee. There's nothing that really bites them for not doing it.
Yeah.
Well, I think they encourage you to have a service contract.
Right.
I don't know if they mandate it, but they would like to mandate it.
They were also looking at providing the training for homeowners that are so inclined to get the proper training to be certified.
And then turn in their...
Yes.
Well, that's good, because I was afraid we were headed toward the mandated contract.
No.
That's what you're not expecting.
But, you know, I mean, there are a lot of people out there that have an aerobic system that really don't understand or don't know that somebody come by and maintenanced it or serviced it, put chlorine tablets in it, or whatever the case. They just assume it works.
Well, they may actually be paying for it, and
they could be. I found that to be the case a lot of times.
That they aren't getting what they're paying for. Okay, anything else, Commissioner Harden? Okay, Commissioner Waller?
Just a lot of work going on. We're working on a major drainage project in the county right now with, I think all of the precincts participating in that. We're going to have an engineering should be done on it in the next couple of days as to how to solve that, put us back in shape. So very busy there, and we've got lots of work coming up. We're going to be very busy over the next few weeks, and I just encourage everybody, if you're out in the county driving and you see those work crews, please, please be cautious. You realize that the most dangerous job in Wichita County is a road maintenance work, statistically. And just be careful when you're out on these roads are narrow. Slow down, give those guys some room, because I know one project we've got coming up on a very narrow road, and it worries me to death, and we don't want to just shut it down and barricade it, but you almost need to. It could be dangerous. We want those guys to go home at night. So just be cautious and watch out when you see the barricades and the flags and whatever.
But Barry, that is a possibility, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shutting the road.
And send them all down Huntington?
Yeah, we're going to probably have to do. I don't see how we can do the job we
Other
got to
than
do.
those that live there, yeah.
Yeah, it's just close the through traffic.
Well, it'll scare you how fast they come down through there, and it's too narrow. The ditches are too deep.
I've got to turn that over to TxDOT, but they don't
want to do it.
Well, that's why the city annexed north of it.
You know, they did, Barry, they did take that culvert on Yucca, which is at the end of Wellington and 367 there.
by the drain ditch, they did do that for me because the traffic was so intense right there.
It's just, we're not as well equipped as TxDOT and some of the other agencies to handle that. We just don't have the personnel to put flaggers and all out, but we do the best we can, and the guys do a good job. Just be careful when you see that going on, because we don't need anybody hurt.
Commissioner Watson?
A lot's going on, precinct 4. We, for the most part, have Lock Road ready to go to be covered. It's having a little difficulty down on, after it got wet, down on the very far end. And Freeman's been back out there with our guys to the east, yeah. And it just had some spots show up in it. Anyway, we're working through that. We're, like Barry said, have a, do we know, with Meredith here as well, our intention after we take the material off of that property, does the county want to take that property as a easement or just a sole, be the owner of that property? I mean, it becomes, well, I guess it would have some use to him. I guess he could raise cows or bale hay on it.
You really can't do much.
And if we make any real design changes there, we really don't want somebody in there doing too much to it.
Can you even fence in the floodplain, Lee?
Yeah, you can put a fence as long as the water can run through it. The water can come in and out. Like,
I mean, that's about it.
Yeah, you couldn't put like a wood fence, barricade fence.
Commissioner, why not talk to Meredith? You and I talked some about that, see if those other ideas, whether those are feasible. But, yeah. Anything else, sir?
Well, if the plan goes through the way it's planned, I think we're going to be in the best shape we've been out there in a long time. It's we're being able to move that water off. I think it's going to be, I actually think it'll be an improvement from where it was.
It will, and I think you getting the soil and water conservation involved has been a big help, and they've had some good ideas as to how to maneuver it. That's it, Judge.
All right, thanks, sir. The only thing I had, we have a Friday's regular meeting at 10 o'clock, and that'll be just simply for bills and staff reports. I will be at a judicial conference that day in Lubbock. We have a meeting at 1:30 today. No.
It'll be back on the agenda for next week.
Next week, okay.
We'll get it off the agenda in time.
Okay. If there's nothing farther, then we are adjourned for the day at 11:13.
So Amoresco did change to next week then?
Yeah. We gave them the